Surely it wasn't a very happy picture of our part of Europe, but do you have questions, comments for the presentations? Yes, please.
Well, I will have a simple question for Daria. If you, because you finished your presentation in a rather pessimistic mood. If you compare the situation in Slovakia with the one we saw in the presentation by Tamás, do you think that the situation is already that bad as we learned it is now in Hungary, or do you think that you are going in that direction, or?
I think we are going in that direction, but it will not go that fast, and I hope we will be able to stop it, because like Tamás was talking about the funding and how it somehow stopped funding the independent companies. There must be people who know and understand how it works. And as I heard from my colleagues that the State Minister of Culture was at our work this morning, he doesn't know anything. He's a middle school teacher, and he just accepted this job because he accepted this job, and he's trying to find his way. And we just hope that it will take him long enough to understand what power he has, and we will be able to do something in between. But we are going in that direction, we are.
Thanks. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's the depressive, no? And I mean, the question which was posed to Tamás, can we help, in any way? I mean, that's a natural impulse, that you would like to help, but how you can help if on the other side you have, the regime which simply doesn't care about any kind of different views or thinking or whatever. I mean, writing, petitions or signing petitions in support to, let's say, Hungarian independent scene, I'm afraid it doesn't make any sense, because, Orban and his team, they doesn't care about it. For them, I'm sure for them it doesn't mean anything.
But I think the more international pressure we create, the better it is, that they have to feel it. I know that our Prime Minister is not Orban, and it's still better in this way. So I'm asking you, if anything goes like this, please have this international voice. But I think we have to talk about it, also about Hungary.
But also I think that the other countries surrounding Hungary and Slovakia should really learn from the cases, and to keep an eye on the political situation in their own countries, and to see the first signs of censorship, suppression, and so on. So I think it's also like, even if we cannot help other countries, I think we should try to keep the balance and political freedom in our own countries. That would be also, because the more little Hungaries we have around in Eastern Europe, then actually it supports also the Orban and Slovakian rightist politicians.
I think that one of the idea is to diverse the financing of culture. I mean, the smaller investors or smaller supporters, not one big supporter, which is a country or the national institutions. We figure out some programs as a national institution, but somehow to share the responsibility with the others, with the local government, with the regional government, with the NGOs. So maybe this is one of the ideas, how to cope with the financing culture, not from the top, but from the bottom, or to collaborate all together.
I don't want to give away my presentation of tomorrow, but maybe I can address what Tamás was not talking about, and that's so financially, you know, to demolish the existence of these companies and theaters financially is just one thing, but on the other hand, this complete destruction that they did in the society, in the very material of the society, is much more severe. And to achieve this, there were circumstances that maybe I can address, so you can focus on that in your own communities. For example, the lack of solidarity, the lack of self-representation, the lack of trade unions, the lack of just basic immunity of the society to realize that we are under attack. Our values, our circles, our work of many decades is being under threat. And people were just naive to think like, okay, we still have our circles, our freedom of speech, our small audiences, and we settle with that. And we already talked about it with Daria, that this kind of Eastern European mentality that we always settle for less, and we are not, I don't know, eager to react if we are under threat, but we are looking for ways of survival. That's a very big problem, that the power then comes ahead and ahead and ahead. And then we are just standing there at the graveyards right now.
I have a question for Anneli. Thank you for your presentation. I was wondering, you spoke about the Russian minority, how it is hard for them to talk about the war, to take sides. But if I understood correctly, the Estonian theater and obviously also the government and the policy is supporting the Russian immigrating directors. They give them the opportunity to open up the stories, and so could you elaborate a little bit more on what's the place of Estonian theater or Estonian culture exactly here in between?
I think Vaba Lava has done a lot to build a bridge between European Union or Estonia as a country in European Union and with the former former republics of Soviet Union. And you actually, this Vaba Lava, who is independent company, has been working on that very much, and also the initiative to build the theater house in Narva. The theater house in Narva was completed when?
2018.
So quite recently. So so hasn't been like a state initiative entirely, but also the independent scene that is also, I think, very important. But and we have one professional Russian theater in Tallinn at the Freedom Square or Independence Square. That is, of course, quite ironic and so on. It's a state-subsidized theater, and compared to the Estonian-speaking theater, this is subsidized the most per capita, because there are quite few spectators in Russian for Russian theater and so on. So yes, and especially now, I think after the war, has escalated. I think we consider our Russian-speaking minority as a threat of our state security, because, as you probably know, that actually the official reason why Russia attacked Ukraine was the protection of Russian-speaking population in Ukraine, and of course. I don't know, is it common, but Estonians are often called Nazis by Russians also after the Second World War, because our language reminds a little bit German language. We don't have the Slavic, and we have like this. So somehow this nickname of the Nazis is quite widely spread, and maybe this is also why now we take it more seriously to also to create the bridge with Russian-speaking population. Or would you like?
Yeah, I just want to comment, and of course Estonia have stopped many relationships with Russian directors or actors, because we can't have them here right now, but before the invasion, yes, Vaba Lava had more connections with Russian directions and groups.
So one very important issue what I wanted to say, that when Estonia reclaimed its independence in 1991, then of course we built our identity as a Nordic countries. We did not want to know anything about the other Baltic countries or other Eastern European countries. But the big turning point has been the war in Ukraine, because right now we have a feeling that Baltic countries and Poland, and we are all in the same boat. So I think that's really the war, the very sad war in Ukraine, actually has strengthened the identity politics in Eastern Europe. So we really have a feeling that we have something in common, and something that is really very existential threat to our well-being. Thank you.
Maybe just a clarification about the Vaba Lava. I'm quite impressed about this project, but could you explain how are you financed? By the state, by municipality, or strictly private financing?
From the state, and then every time we have our project, we ask the extra money from Estonian Cultural Endowment. So both ways, and sometimes we have some private supporters also. So we have to collect actually the money from everywhere, because from private theaters, the state is getting the budget is so much smaller now, so there's not enough money.
But the majority comes from the
state,
government.
From state. Mm-hmm.
This is why basically I got the impression that the Estonian state sees this situation of being in between also as an opportunity. Like you said, the identity changed a little bit.
Of course, this Hui Vaina production, it was so quick that this was own money, because we didn't have time to ask it from anywhere else. But this Brussels visit, it was supported from some political party men, and it was really nice.
Bravo, you're doing a good work. There was a thought when you spoke about Hungarian Slovak situation. Well, it's not that bad in Slovenia now, but I was wondering, because after socialism, it was this common impression that state interfering with culture, this is no-go. This is sort of always a red alarm. It's so sad or tragic that after 30 years, obviously people forgot about it. I mean, this is so similar to what Daria told us about the 45 or 48, 56 period with the censorship and these kind of things.
I would like to mention not only these fears. We have a very good example in Warsaw. We have a theater director She is a very radical feminist, and she kicked out all the people she didn't want to have in the theater without any, because she said she cannot work with someone who is not a radical feminist. Yes. So we have also this kind of radical experiences. This theater belongs to the city, and city somehow allows her to do it. And even the left intellectuals are very shocked. It is allowed, and she will not be responsible for it because she's an artist, and she has the artistic vision of his theater, and she's allowed to work with the people with whom she wants to work, and she has also the legal possibility, because if the actor, for instance, doesn't play on stage for a period of time, she or he is not needed in the theater. And who puts the actor in the play? The director. So this is also a threat that sometimes also the other ideology could be very dangerous for the culture, because the freedom of the artistic view, but where is this border? Where is the balance of freedom of artistic view? And there is, go to the dramatic theater today in Warsaw, you will see what's going on, or just try to read about it more. So this is also that kind of radicalism, and all radicalism are very dangerous, I think. So that's it. It's not very optimistic, but maybe we should go for the lunch, and then, yeah.